Obviously, the last 6, 7 minutes, I felt we really inflicted some damage to ourselves with some turnovers, and that's obviously credit to Michigan State. Tom's got a really good team, as I thought coming in. The 5, 6 minute mark where we had back-to-back turnovers with possessions to take the lead, and they capitalized on it, and were able to get separation. I felt was a big part of the game, and obviously the offensive rebounding, that timely ones where we got them to miss late in clocks, and they've been doing that to a lot of teams all year. So a lot for us to learn from. We go 5 for 32 from three. I thought we had some really good looks, some open looks from the right guys. Some of that's Michigan State's defense. They have defended well for the vast majority of the year. So, but even with 5 for 32, I thought we were in position. And then the turnovers and a couple untimely offensive rebounds on their end. But like I said, he's got a really good team, and it's a good college basketball game. I wish we could have played better the last 6, 7 minutes. Questions?
Greg, both programs have a history of always battling when you come in. How do you prepare your young man to come in to play in the Breslin Arena against a Tom Izzo coach team, and also having a young man with ties to Michigan and Jonathan Blackwell? What is that dynamic like?
Yeah, it doesn't – I don't make a big deal about who we're going to play or where. Whether we go to Minnesota and we'll go there next, we have several guys from Minnesota, or if we go to Illinois or Northwestern, they understand how we go about it every day and prepare. But in terms of, Michigan State, haven't been standing here as long as Tom has, but, I go back quite a ways, 25 years. I know he's been here 42 now. Great respect for him. I think you build your program, as we did when we got to Wisconsin in 2001, built to try to go beat the best. And at that time, they were the king of the mountain in the Big Ten and set the bar really high. So it was always for us in building our program how we wanted to be defensively, how we needed to be on the glass. It was the one as we were coming through those first few years at Wisconsin. It was some battles for championships, and it's been that way for the last 25 years. So, the thing I appreciate so much about Coach is that he's withstood the test of time. 42 years, 30 years the head coach. Now, obviously, the all-time winning has got the most wins in Big Ten history. That isn't going to happen. It's not in today's era. Coaches aren't going to be there. Administrators won't have somebody in today's world. Maybe Painter stays that long, but man, it's a tribute to Tom, and it's a tribute to Michigan State. And I know he hasn't had many down years, but if there ever was, hey, he's as good as it gets, and he's great for college basketball. He's been great for me as a young head coach coming into this, and even as an assistant. He just gets it, and I just said I appreciate it. Sucks losing, but. We always say we don't like each other for 40 minutes, then we go back to being friends. So we can go back to being friends now. Yep.
Greg, you've been so efficient on offense this year. Was today just a bad day without Klesmet, or did Michigan State look like the number one defense in this league?
Yeah, I knew they were. It was number one offense against number one defense coming in, right? And I thought, again, I'll go through the film, but I thought we had some pretty good looks. Heck, even the last one that McGee had from the corner in a transition three like that. And it's Michigan State, does that to you too. I thought they were, they did some good things in protecting the paint and closing to shooters. And we've played without Max before. He sat out a game a few weeks ago against Minnesota, and so we've dealt with that. So it's not about lineup; it's about our execution and credit to Michigan State's defense and. They were hot on shooters, but even when we did get loose, I thought we got some pretty good looks that we got to be able to knock those shots down.
Greg, I'm wondering about the two dunks that Carr had in terms of momentum swings after the big lead early, and then kind of setting up that late punch, and then how much did Michigan State with that and getting out in transition? Could you see your guys kind of wearing a little bit on it?
Yeah, no, that was I think one of those maybe came from one of those turnovers where we were coming with about the 5-6 minute mark. 2 possessions in a row where we came 1-point game, had a chance to take the lead, and we turned it over. And I don't know if they both went pick six. I know one of them did. But those are obviously, you can't put yourself in that position no matter who you're playing against, right? And I felt that. Even then we bounced back. We had it at a 5-point game and had chances, and we could just never consistently, clean up the glass, or we missed some shots right around the rim. Missed some pretty decent looks from 3. So, but you don't want those momentum, because the margin for error for both teams. I mean, it's such a highly contested game that 2 or 3 possessions either way are going to tip the scales. So you want to make sure you try to tip that in your favor. And if we could have taken the lead there, I felt obviously better about coming down the stretch than them getting a 3, 5, 7 point lead. That was going to be a little more difficult to overcome.
Jace Richardson, as a freshman, can you just reflect on how, savvy and efficient and in control he is, second half today, and just watching him on film?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't met until today. Here we are in March before we play Michigan State. But, obviously he comes from some pretty good genes, right? Stock is pretty good with his dad. And, and he's listening to Coach Izzo. That's one thing that I appreciate about my guys, is they're very coachable, and they listen. And I think the Michigan State players are doing the same thing with Coach Izzo. They're listening. And for a young man like Jace to come in here and come in with more questions and answers and take coaching like he has, I think as a coach you appreciate that, and I'm sure Tom appreciates it, and then it shows with how Jace has played.
Greg, first half you held them defensively 31%. Second half you got up to about 48 or so. What did you see that was different?
Turnovers. Got out in transition. We messed up some ball screen coverages. We let Kohler or Cooper get in behind us on some rolls where we had done a pretty good job of bumping, and we didn't stop the ball at the point of attack. We didn't shock it when we should have shocked it. We were shocking it when we shouldn't have been. So that was the biggest thing. We still hold them. They still don't get over a point per possession. There's 71 points on 72 possessions. So defensively, you play well enough other than the defensive rebounding to win. You got to take care of the ball better when you shoot 5 for 32. You can't. There's 9 possessions there. We got to have 5 or 6 of them back when you're shooting the 3 at that clip. So, I said other than those ball screen sequences, I thought we were decent defensively, and we made a mistake here or there. We made a mistake on Richardson. He got to the rim and got a lob on us once. He got loose. But I'll look through the film and pick out, I'm sure, more things. But numbers wise, it tells you you should be right in the game, which we were.
Are there any common threads between the offensive execution in the last 2 losses? I mean, for that to be the culprit the last 2 games?
No, totally different teams. Totally different with how they play.
And because as far as the second halves go, Michigan State's plus 83, I believe, in the last 7 games. In that regard, plus 11 tonight. Is that a testament, would you say, to their depth, or are there any specific adjustments that they've been doing?
I don't know if there was any adjustments. I mean, that's not for me to answer, because I'm not in there. I don't coach their team. But from our standpoint, we needed to. We didn't shoot it. We didn't shoot it well in the first half. I mean, we were 2 for 16, but you'd come in with a 2-point lead. And we got on fire in the second half. We go 3 for 16. So, you gotta be able to execute. You gotta be able to knock down some shots. And it wasn't just the threes. We had the ball at the rim. We missed a few point blanks, even in transition. And like I mentioned ad nauseum, I've talked about the turnovers that were really untimely, bad turnovers at the bat. None of them are ever good, but we had bad ones at bad times.
Take 2 more, Evan and Mark.
With Marcus getting an extended run today, was there something matchup-wise you liked, in this game, or was it just?
Yeah, and Xavier
cracks and all?
had tweaked his ankle a couple days ago, and came back and practiced yesterday. I thought he moved okay. Today he got in, and I didn't think he can move at all. So it just, I decided at that point in time, he was not in a position to move at the pace he needed to move. So Marcus has been working. Like you said, you've heard me talk about the positive things he's done. So I thought he did some good things out there, and got to continue to get other guys healthy.
I kind of touched on my question, but I'm curious. That said about Max, was this a situation where, I guess, at what point did you realize he wasn't going to be able to go? How close was he to even getting a chance to play?
I knew Wednesday. By Wednesday, last Wednesday, he wasn't going. So it's day to day. We'll see how things go with the doctors and medical people. They'll make the determination on when he's able to come back. So it wasn't something that was last minute. We knew for 2-3 days. We were preparing that he wasn't going to play.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Players will be available on Sunday.